I came on as I forgot to turn on my light. Hold on. Fucking idiot. Ugh. Let's bring the brightness down a little bit there. Just so there's a little light so my raccoon eyes don't shine through. All right, that works. Yeah, that's just good enough lighting. Did you see that? Little fucking black lightning bolt running around the place. Okay. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the stream. You are joining me tonight as I mix a set from the band called Eels of Love. They are a instrumental prog metal band from northern New Jersey. And we're going to be doing some mixing tonight, and possibly, depending on how tired I am, we might do some video editing as well. Can't promise you anything, but we're at least going to do some mixing tonight. There's a couple things I want to share with you guys first. Let's adjust this so it looks perfect. There we go. I want to show you guys one thing real quick because that's just going to get everyone very excited. Ready? Ready to get excited? Everybody? Episode 13, Mixdown Meltdown, tomorrow. I'm actually going to set the... I'm actually going to set the premiere right now. Let's see. I have a shoot. Let's do... What time is my last photo shoot so I can be like in the chat with you? I don't care if you see where I'm going tomorrow. 1 p.m. Let's do 11:30 a.m. because that way I'll be able to be in the chat the whole time between for the whole video. So let's set this 11:30 a.m. Set as premiere. Done. Mixdown Meltdown episode 13 tomorrow. And you want to take a look at how long the video is? You know what? You guys want a sneak peek? I'm sure you do. I'm not going to play anything. As you can tell from the Wrath of Khan thumbnail, that this is going to be a nightmare. I was going to show you guys how long the episode is. Whatever. It's an hour and 21 minutes long. So, longest episode of Mixdown Meltdown yet. And episode 13 tomorrow. I'm not going to lie, guys. The episode ends on a potential negative note. No, it does end on a negative note. I'll just say that. And it's honestly getting me to reflect why I still do this video series. But I'll just leave it at that. Watch it yourself tomorrow, and you'll see why I'm contemplating entertaining the idea of stopping Mixdown Meltdown. Okay. I also just want to say something real quick. I was set to meet a friend tonight. We planned 2 days ago to meet up tonight. And this friend lives in Sparta, which is about an hour and a half's drive for me. I get to the outskirts of Sparta after sitting in traffic for about an hour and 20 minutes. and they text me, can't meet up tonight, sorry. If you are the type of person who makes plans with someone, whether it's friends, family, coworkers, dating, you both confirm a time to meet, you both confirm a location, and you bail while the person is en route to location, right here. Let the camera focus on that. Come on, camera. Focus on that. Whatever. Now the camera doesn't want to autofocus. Whatever. It's focused on me. But yes. So I drove all the way to Sparta for nothing tonight. But that's okay, because on the way home I was like, yep, I'll just go live and do this because this is all overdue. The band paid me already for this work. So I might as well do this for them. I mean, it's professional courtesy at this point. So, okay. Let's get started, guys. So, you guys know my mixing process. You know how I do things. You know how the situation goes. I have a couple of new toys from UAD that I'm going to play with tonight. There's a A-type exciter that they recently had an emulation of, and on the demos I saw, it sounds pretty good. So we'll experiment with that, but mostly it's just going to be same old as far as my mixing process. So let's get going. All right, so we got Logic Pro up, and let's go over the technical aspects. So the console that recorded this was at Debonair Music Hall. And the console is a Digico SD9. Costs about $16,000. And nope, that's not the camera I wanted to show you. Action 4. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'll show you everything. So we have a couple of cameras that we used. So this is the raw footage. It's in log format. So I have bass camera because Paul is the leader of the band here. So I had my A7R5 recording with my Sigma 14-24 2.8 lens. So this got basically Paul when he does his mannerisms on stage. He looks like he's having uncontrollable twitches on stage, but he brings good energy. So that camera's focused on him. The A7 IV, the much better low-light performer of my two Sony cameras. Did not mean to do that. Got the stage wide shot. And this is a great view of the band. I like to have the lights be the very top of the frame so you can see the color changes and the movers go around. So there's some motion in this video besides the band, of course. So that's a stage wide cam that I'm going to use like in between songs. This is a DJI Action 4. It is focused on the piano player. And yes, it is incredibly noisy. When I'm done editing this, it will not be noisy. So before you pixel peepers go like, it's noisy, you're so unprofessional. Shut up. This will look fine. You saw the Surrender to Eden at Sherman Theater video, right? If not, you should totally watch it. But this same camera was on Johnny, the keyboard player, and it was just this noisy when I first got that image. So don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. What did Aaron Rodgers say? RELAX. Action 5 over the drummer. Pretty standard as far as my drum camera angle goes. I want to be able to see the footwork, the hands, the whole drum kit, everything. And there's my stupid ass with the gimbal. And speaking of gimbals, let's go to my Osmo Pocket 3, which is my main gimbal of choice. and I mainly got the motion of the stage, and I didn't do like any crazy like warping, zooming in, whatever. Just smooth footage like this, and let the music speak for themselves. Yeah, see, there's Paul's twitches right there. That little like he's doing the whole what is love dance in the car. So yeah, this is mainly the main camera I'm gonna focus on, and this is probably the best overall shot of, the best overall camera that I'm using. And I say that, and I have several $1,000 Sonys right there. So that's it, guys. Those are the cameras that we're going to be working with. And here are the audio tracks. So audio tracks. We have a kick drum, snare, 3 toms, left and right overheads, bass, guitar, and keyboard. Now, we do have one vocal mic here, but the band is an instrumental band, so we don't need this at all. In fact, let me delete everything in this except Paul's voice. Let me delete this real quick. So that this will only have audio when he talks. I'm not even going to fucking edit this. I'm not going to EQ and I'm not going to put a compressor on because it's just like literally a talkback mic almost. All right, save this. All right, so we only have the band to worry about. Okay, so let's go over what gear we use. So the console, like I said, is a Digico SD9. Microphones, the kick is a Beta 52. Snare is a 57. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Snare and the toms are Sennheiser E609s. The overheads are my Lewitt 140 Airs. The bass is direct. Guitar is an SM57. Keyboards are direct. And Paul's vocal, like it matters, is an SM58. So very simple, straightforward. But now here's the main test tonight. We're going to have an accidental gear comparison because you guys heard the Surrender to Eden drums. You know what? Let's have an experiment right now. Let's fucking have... for those of you asking in the chat room, how did I enjoy mixing on a Digico? I didn't mix them. I didn't record them. The sound guy did. I was there to just exclusively film, so I didn't mix them. But I have mixed on a Digico before, and I mean they're nice, but are they the price of a fucking condo? Nice? No thanks. I'll stick with my Wing Compact. So okay. I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. So, okay. Edit and mix. Let's go to my video with the Surrender to Eden set. So, specifically, what we're going to do is let's rewind and go to the raw snare drum channel, because Russ, the drummer for Surrender to Eden, has a Sennheiser E604 for a snare drum. So we have 2 snare drums with the same mic in the same way that they are mic'd. I mean, the type of snare drum, the type of drummer, it all matter. It all has some difference, but let's have an experiment. One by one. So you'll see that it's on everything with the processing on. So this is just my snare drum. So let's hear the raw snare drum from Surrender to Eden with the Wing Compact, and then we'll compare it to the snare drum from the Digico, because I hear all the time, and the absolute biggest douchebags that are in my comment section all the time are from Gear Snobs. And I am proud to constantly poke the bear of Gear Snobs. I despise them. Like, in fact, I hate them. Like, I straight up hate Gear Snobs and gear snobbery. So, any chance I get to flip the bird to Gear Snobs, I'm going to. So let's load up the actual final video. I'm not going to rely on YouTube compression because I want a fair audio test here. Here's the final video that I uploaded to YouTube with the clean audio. So let's listen to the raw snare drum from Surrender to Eden, and then let's listen to the snare drum from Eels of Love. Surrender to Eden was recorded with the Wing Compact at 48K. Eels of Love was recorded by the Digico at 48K. So let's see if there is... The Behringer Wing Compact is around $5,000. A new Digico SD9 is around, like, triple that. Is it 3 times as good sounding? Let's find out. I'm only going to soak in light. Okay, so that's the snare from Surrender to Eden. This is the snare from Eels of Love. Surrender to Eden. Eels of Love. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound 3 times as good. Definitely sounds nice, but it doesn't sound 3 times as good. Like, the only thing that I will say is Eels of Love's snare drum has a little more decay in the top end. And that could just be from the snare drum itself, the head that Brandon, the drummer, used, and how he struck the drum. But if you put both of those side by side and you do an A and B, does the Digico sound that, like, oh my God, I need to take a mortgage on my house to get that sound? I'll choose a $5,000 console and buying a vacation than buying a Digico. Okay. Ace Man is joking, by the way, guys. He's being a little troll. And my cat is, of course, ruffling through my mail in the back because the cat is so fucking bored. Hold on. Let me get his toy on so he gets distracted. Come here, you little shit. Play with your toy. Don't play with my mail. Play with your toy. That's right. Look at it. Okay. Yeah, what's going to be fun is at the end of the night, I'm going to do remind me in the chat, guys. Help me remember this because my short-term memory is garbage. Remind me at the end of when I'm done with the drums and everything sounds good, let me do an A and B with the processed snare drum sound for Eels of Love versus Surrender to Eden. I'm curious to see what that will sound like. But anyway, let's go. Let's actually get started. There we go. Now I want that one. Okay. So everything is rough mixed. Let's bring the overheads. The only tracks I'm going to be panning tonight. Let's put everything on auto align. There you go. Now he's playing with his toy. Let's find. Oh, motherfucker. I just noticed this. Look at this. The sound guy didn't put phantom power or didn't plug in the overheads for the first song. Fuck. Fuck. Okay. Nothing I can do about that. I can't stimulate overheads. I mean, we're just going to have to... You know what I'm going to do? Hold on. Where's Paul's mic? This is now going to be my overhead. Until... Where does the overhead come in? Let's zoom in here. All right. Well, what do you know? It starts right on a snare drum hit, it looks like. No, I think that's just a thing popping. Yep, that's the sound of a microphone being plugged in while phantom power is activated. All right, so I'll start. Okay, so on this snare drum hit, let's have the overheads come in, delete that, and now have Paul's mic be the overhead, Paul's vocal mic, because while he's playing, this points near the overhead, so yeah, I can work with that. That'll be easy. Okay. Well, there's our glitch of the mix. All right, let's bring this back over here. Okay. Well, that fucking sucks. But whatevs. I mean, this is what happens when I don't fucking do it myself. Now to be fair, the sound guy at Debonair Music Hall was a really good guy. Like, he was a really good sound guy. He knew what he was doing. I'm the guy that came over and like shook up his work procedure for the night, because I was like, look, I'm here to record this band, and I need you to record it for me. Otherwise, I'm going to put a split snake up here, and it's just going to complicate things, because Eels of Love was the third band playing that night. They weren't headliners. So, even though Eels of Love got a sound check, I couldn't set up my split snake. So, to Ez's credit, these tracks are recorded straight off of the console. So, they were recorded into Reaper, and the stems are all nicely gain structured. So, like, there's plenty of good gain here. So I'll be able to mix this. It just sucks that I was wondering why I saw him on stage in the beginning of the clip. Now I know. He was plugging in the overheads. All right. Well, that's neither here or there. Let's find an area where there's lots of toms, and let's auto align these things. All right, that's enough information. Here we go. Now let's see how that sounds. Yeah, everything sounds a little more polished. So, okay. I didn't even fucking check and make sure that I'm live everywhere. Hold on. It would help if I saw that I was live. Okay, I'm live there. Let's go to conservative verbal diarrhea, Vil. Rumble fucking sucks. Like I set a thumbnail in Restream and it's that. So like it fucking sucks. Okay, and I'm live on Facebook too, so that's good. That's all I mainly care about. Am I live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook? Eliezer, I have an old laptop. Should I still record my video on my Pocket 3 RAW? I'm new to this. I just do covers at home, but I want to improve on the visuals. Okay. That is... I know you didn't mean to, but that's a very vague question. I need to know the specs of your computer. I need to know how much RAM you got, what model, like how fast is your CPU. Like, I need to know specs. But for the most part, unless it's like, you know, do a Geekbench test on the computer, and depending on the score, only record in 1080p on your Pocket 3. Record in 1080p. Your computer, if it's like 5 years old, like 5 to 10 years old even, you should be able to edit 1080p video no problem. Okay. Now that Autoline is on, first off, let me share with you guys Eels of Love, their studio work. I normally do not have a reference track. Normally I just feel the song, but the fact that Eels of Love has an entire fucking EP up here that they just released, which, by the way, it's excellent. You need to listen. It would help if I just get a sense of where they are as far as their mix goes. Okay, so the keyboards are more buried than I thought they would be. So that's just a reminder for me. The bass is clearly out in front. So, I mean, this is Paul's band. So, what do you know? A bass player that likes to hear himself and be the loudest in the mix. Paul, I know you're watching this, but like father, like son, bro. I mean that with love. Paul's dad is in a band called Pyramada, and I did their EP fucking years ago. It's still up on Spotify, and it sounds like shit compared to what I can do now, but like, his dad is the quintessential I'm not loud enough bass player when he is the clear loudest fucking thing in the room. So, yeah, let's listen to browse through this one. Okay, the toms are not as out front as I would normally mix them to. So that's just good. That's just a good reference point where I can go with. So my goal tonight is to get their live set sounding better than their studio set. So it's just a little competition thing that I always do with myself. I want these guys to walk away from this and hear this and be like, holy mother of fuck, this sounds better than our studio record. Let's find a song that we could base our mix off of. Oh God, we're gonna have problems here. Fucking Paul, look at your levels right here, dude. Look at how loud this is here, and then look at how even it is here. That's gonna be a bitch. Ah, here's a song that I wanted. Okay, we're gonna base the mix off of this song. So this will be a good starting point. All right, I guess it's enough time for me dilly-dallying. Let's actually get to the meat and potatoes here. All right, overhead, let's bust these out. Drums. Since we have an instrumental, we don't need a vocals bus. So this will be my mix bus. Let's color coordinate these. Bus is red. Mix bus. That's keys I like light blue. Guitars are always green to me. Basses, I always label them yellow. And drums, I always make them blue. Dabba-dee, dabba-die. If I was green, I would die. All right. We're in a good raw state. Let's get this band going. Well, I'm going to pick another song because this kick drum is lower in volume than this. I guess Brandon was hitting the kick drum with a little less velocity on this song, or the sound guy turned down the input gain. Either way, I'm going to pick a different song because everything else looks pretty even except for this song. There we go. Overheads just add so much to a fucking drum sound. Jesus Christ. Let's do this. Overheads. Let's bring this out to drums. What is my cat fucking chewing? What are you chewing? Oh my God. He's in complete and total asshole mode. All right. Oh, this is funky. Okay, I'll work with this. All right, so one thing I'm going to do is experiment with a couple of, with a new plugin that I got from UAD. It came with my everything bundle, so I'm just going to experiment and see what it does to it. So it is the A-Type multiband enhancer. And I just want to hear what this does to an instrument bus. For instance, drums. Let's turn this off, and then I'll turn it on. I'm just going to experiment. This is literally just me fucking around now and seeing how it sounds. Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds lovely. Hold on a tick here. This sounds lovely on the bus. Oh my god, this crush button on the A-type sounds good. Oh my god, I'm going to incorporate that into this. The Excite adds some nice harmonics to the transient. The Expand, it really didn't do much for me. The Air sounds great. This could be great for adding more life and sparkle to the transients. But that crush, oh my god, that is going to be juicy on drum bus and especially the overheads. What does it do to a bass guitar? So that I don't like about UA. I really do not like those about the UA plugins. Yo, this sounds sick. Let's see. What does it do for guitars? Okay, a little bit of the excitement with around -1, -2 sounds good on guitars. Okay. This is neat. That's neat. That crush on the drums, on the overhead, that's my new overhead compressor. I can tell you that right now. That sounds so much smoother to me than the 1176 I was using. Fuck me, that sounds good. All right. Oh, now I'm excited. Now let's have some fun. All right, let's start with the drums. Well, how does a band have their kick drum sound in their songs? All right, sounds punchy, but it's not too clicky, so this Beta 52 will work just fine. Yeah, that'll work. I won't need to add a sample to it. All right, now what does that exciter do to the kick drum? All right, Elvis is having a field day with his toys, so that's good. At least he's distracted. That actually sounds good. Nope, still prefer the 1073. All right, so so that A-type exciter is going to be an addition. That's not going to be my main source of sound. Man, I'm sorry. There's just way too much inconsistency with the kick tone, so I am gonna replace the kick. I hear inconsistencies, and it just doesn't sound right to me, so I'm going to replace the kick. It sounds like there are hits where it goes like boom, 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 and then there's a couple of hits that just snap, and it just like the snap just hits you. It's like boom, 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 dee, boom, 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 dee, like stuff like that. I don't like it, so I am going to replace the kick drum. Sorry, guys. I know Eels of Love is watching us. Sorry, I'm just doing what's best for the set. All right, kick drum's done. With samples, I very rarely put anything else on it. I'll EQ it just to sculpt it the way I want. And that specific kick sample from Chris Lord Algae just sounds great. So not much I need to do to it. Although, where does the bass sit? Yeah, let me carve out a little bit for the bass right here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is process the bass guitar so I have my low end taken care of. right, let's try that exciter multiband enhancer. Let's try that. Let's see what that does to the bass. Yeah, that's starting to sound like a bass. Let's add a little bit more of an EQ bump here. Let's go frequency hunting. What stands out? right. That's what I call blended low end. Chris, the guitar player of the band, is checking out on the YouTube side. This is the first time I played this tune live. Be gentle on us. Yeah, it's, bro. I don't care. Like, I'm picking it because it's a groovy tune. Yeah, this sounds pretty dope so far. All right, now let's do something about this snare drum. Because that's driving me fucking crazy right now, is this snare drum. Yeah, that snare drum sounds fucking nice now. Oh boy. Oh, doggy, that snare drum sounds fucking nice. Dumb question. Ace Man saying, do you have / use an iLock USB stick? Yes, it lives on my USB hub on my desk. Yeah, that I store all my licenses on that. I don't travel anywhere. I don't mix anywhere if I'm gonna load up Logic. Well, I don't mix unless I'm in my room right here with my monitors, but yeah, I don't load up Logic without that attached. I have a USB A to C dongle that I plug into my computer here if I need to play a session in another room somewhere. So yeah. iLock stick. I don't store it online because that means you need a connection to the internet at all times if you're going to mix in another room. All right, my ears are tired. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Okay. We're back. Yeah, the drums are sounding pretty good so far. Like, I just did the kick and snare. I haven't even touched the fucking toms yet, so that's what I'm gonna work on now. And drums are always the longest instrument to get sitting right in the mix, but they take the longest because they're the ones that need the most attention. There's so many tracks that you need to let just get right in order for everything to blend together easily. So drums take forever, but the end result is if you mix analog drums correctly, like it's literally the best. If you get a good analog drum sound. No one else in the chat is asking anything, so okay, I'll use that chance now to just continue onward here. I'm gonna move on to toms now. Yeah, the toms are sounding pretty good. So let's move on to overheads. I hate how much that works. So the vocal mic, because there was no audio going to the overheads because they weren't plugged in right, I'm using the vocal mic that that Paul used, and I'm using that as an overhead. Fuck yeah. All right, so someone in the chat is asking what this is for, the tonal balance control. Basically, this came with Ozone 11, and basically what this does is it basically is like a guideline, like a runway for the frequency spectrum. So with this, you load up what genre you're working with, and this gives you the rough like RMS of where the frequency spectrum should be. Basically, if you align the frequencies and get them in this green line right here, your mix is pretty much on paper, at least, like good for tonal balance control. And that's what that is. This is just another like monitor that I use, and the frequency analyzer is right here. I monitor this in case anything like, steps out, and then I use this as an overall picture of it because I'm not mixing in a perfect environment. So this is what I use to monitor when I get down to almost the end, which is where I'm at now. All right, that's sounding pretty amazing right now. I also just noticed that it looks like the stream died out. So I have 0 dropped frames. So did the stream cut out? No, it didn't. I'm still on. It looks like the stream died. Huh. Fascinating. So it says here I've been live for 2.5 hours, but if you look at the restream, it says I'm only live an hour and 45 minutes. Weird. There's 4, there's always 5. Okay. I guess not. I guess there's not 5 this time. Okay. Let's scan through this and see how this sounds.
We are Eels of Love, and tonight we're going to play a bunch of originals and one cover for you. This next one's called Everybody In. Is everybody in? You.
All right, that's the live version of this song. Let's listen to the studio version. Yeah, that sounds fucking groovy. So I did not forget. We're going to do, before I call this done, I'm going to do a final snare drum test. Let's turn off all my master processing. And then let's turn off the drum bus processing. Let's mute the reverb. So only my snare drum track is playing. I'm going to do a and B between this processed snare drum, which was on the Digico SD9, versus the snare drum from Surrender to Eden, which was on the Behringer Wing Compact. I'm going to take a guess here that it won't be that much of a difference. So here's Surrender to Eden's snare drum. now here's Eels of Love. The gated reverb is a little bit much there. That wasn't. I didn't really hear that much of the gated reverb in that. So let's just take that off. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry, but they both sound great, but there is really zero difference. Like, apart from the head of the snare, the maybe like the microscopic difference of how the mic was placed, how the drummer is playing the drum, and the model of the drum too. The Digico does not sound 3 times better, even though it's 3 times as expensive. So, take that whole gear snobbery, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your candy ass, as The Rock would say. I'm sorry, that's just nowhere, like, it's not that night and day of a difference. So, all right, that being said, let's continue scanning the rest of this, because I'm pretty much convinced that this is done. So let's save, and let's just continue scanning. All right, so as per my normal tradition with this, I'm going to jerry-rig a video sync here, because I'm just going to call this done, and I'm going to send this to the band, because this sounds fucking awesome. Let's find this song. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's not the camera angle I wanted. So A74, there we go. This is song 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And you get to hear our sales pitch. We have vinyl. $1, 1 pen. A special tonight, 5 pens, $5. You'll love it. This next one's called Escape from the Lizard Brain. For the first time, whoa! Greatest pen ever created. This next one's called Escape from the Lizard Brain. Listen to this next song, which is like some kind of crazy, scary trap.
All right, let's make this the smaller. All right. Let's bring the volume down on that.
Greatest pen ever created. $1, 1 pen. A special tonight, 5 pens, $5. You'll love it. This next one's called Escape from the Lizard Brain.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. Yeah. I'm very happy with that.
Songs have been originals, which means we wrote them.
The keyboard's too loud in last song, so let me fix that real quick. Fucking keyboard players. You know what? I feel like treating you guys to one more song. So let's listen to this funky one. And this time I'll use my gimbal cam. I'll use the raw footage from the gimbal cam. Osmo Pocket. And what's the vocal lead in with this?
Well, we've reached this part of the set. Up till now, all these songs have been originals, which means we wrote them, but this next one, yes, this next song is a cover. We'll see if you recognize it, and we hope you enjoy it.
All right, never mind. I won't do it because it's a cover. That's the one we just did. You know what? Fuck it. This stream's gonna get fucking demonetized anyway, so let's do the cover. Because I like this cover. I don't know what it is, but it's good. Let's see. Of course, I didn't film the whole fucking song in one go. I had to cut it there. Okay, so we won't do the cover. Let's do this one.
Ready, friend? Let's do it! All right, this next one was our most recent single before releasing the EP, Eels in Space. Again, available now in vinyl along with buttons, lighters, pens, and the vinyl. It's called Celestial Harp. We hope you like it. Yeah!
All right, so that's a 3 count. Okay. All right, this one's going to be difficult to time out right. There you go. Got it. All right, after this, then we will call a night and I'll go to bed.
Vinyl along with buttons, lighters, pens, and the vinyl. It's called Celestial Harp. We hope you like it.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm very good. I'm good with that. Yeah. There's no other way to say it. I'm very good with that mix. I'm happy with it. So, time to send that to the band. Time to mix this down, send it to the band, and wait for feedback. Hopefully, it's a wow, you nailed it in the first go. But with their payment came 2 revisions. So they have 2 revisions of the mix down that I send them. Okay. So I hope you guys learned something from this stream. I hope you saw some new tricks that you may or may not have already known. And yeah, if you learned something, let me know in the comments of the video, because I genuinely would like to know if you guys like actually learn anything, and if so, what did you learn? So, all right, that's it. This stream was around maybe 3 hours or so, I'd say, and we just saw a mix from beginning to end. Well, hopefully end. I'm going to send it to the bands and wait for their approval, and then I'm going to render that final mix to the multicam video, which then will be sent to the band for them to do whatever the fuck they want with it. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and Mixdown Meltdown tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. debut premiere on my channel. It's an hour and 20-minute long episode, so strap yourselves in. It's a journey. So thanks for watching, and good night. Bye.